The 21st century's biggest armed conflict is about to end an era. For Russia, one of the parties to the war, a great threat is looming. And this threat is not only from land, but also from sea and air. The latest developments signal that danger bells are ringing for Russia. Russian leader Putin's decision to invade Ukraine was the basis for today's events. Putin characterized the invasion as a special operation and stated that the aim of the invasion was to keep NATO away from Ukrainian territory. Of course, this was just an excuse that Putin put forward, because the Russian leader was planning to become the Russian emperor by establishing the Russian Empire, which had remained in the dusty pages of history. Kiev, the historical capital of the Russian Empire, was the capital of the Ukrainian state. It was impossible for the Russian emperor to stay away from Kiev. Russia was shaken by the developments on its border. This was undoubtedly the accession to NATO of Finland, which has both land and sea borders with Russia. Russia's greatest fear is now at its doorstep. Let's take a look at this threat to Russia and the theories about its possible consequences. Before we take a look at the latest developments, we need to give you a reminder. The Pioneer team analyzes and reports critical information about the Russia-Ukraine war, changes on the battle map, and diplomatic maneuvers. Our meticulous team needs your support to continue this work. For this work to continue, you can support us by clicking the Super Thanks button at the bottom of the video. If you are ready, let's move on to the details of our news. Thanks to the successful operations of the Ukrainian army, Russia has suffered and continues to suffer great losses, one after another. While the conditions for Russia, which is fighting a very difficult struggle against Ukraine, are getting heavier, the heavy conditions have doubled, with Finland joining the NATO alliance. This news signaled that Russia was caught in a rat trap. The Ukrainian army has proved many times that Russia's borders are not as secure as they thought to be. Russia has a major security weakness on its borders. Therefore, Putin has to start border defense from the front lines. But the forward lines are not suitable for Russia's defense. The invasion of Ukraine, described as a special military operation, has turned into a nightmare for Russia. The operation, which was intended to protect the borders, has made them even more uncanny. Russia's borders now face the world's most advanced and technological weapons and the most powerful military units. With the critical development in the north of Russia, Putin was dealt a heavy blow. Unable to use the Black Sea effectively, Putin will no longer be able to act as he wishes in the Baltic Sea. The threat emerging in Russia's northern regions have severely limited Putin's ability to maneuver. With the ascension of Finland to NATO, Russia's border with its greatest fear have reached almost 1,500 kilometers. With this development, Russia's cities such as St. Petersburg, Kaliningrad, and Transnistria have become the soft tissue of Russia. These cities can quickly be taken from Russia with operations organized by naval landing ships. Russia's naval forces stationed in the Baltic cannot prevent this situation. In a hot conflict in the region, Russia could completely lose its Baltic Sea power. It is not only with warships that make the Baltic Sea a major threat for Russia. In a possible conflict in the Baltic Sea, the aircraft carriers that will be deployed in the region could become a base for jets that will directly target Russia. These aircraft carriers allow the active use of F-35 fighter jets, the fifth-generation fighter jets. The capital Moscow, the heart of Russia, is thus completely encircled. Russia is in trouble with a threat from the north. The geopolitical position of countries like Estonia, Finland, and Sweden pose a major threat to Russian supply lines. In the northern parts of Russia, there are warehouses containing a large amount of ammunition belonging to the Russian army. In order to deliver the ammunition from these depots to the Russian soldiers on the front line, this borderline must be followed in parallel. However, the destruction of the supply lines by the aforementioned countries is seen as an inevitable outcome if tensions escalate. Another Scandinavian country, Sweden, is expected to join the NATO alliance in coming days. With Sweden joining NATO, Russia's sea route from the Baltic Sea to the Atlantic Ocean will be completely under NATO's control. In our previous reports, we have noted how the Ukrainian army's operations in the Black Sea against important trading ports for Russia have dealt a heavy blow to the Russian economy. Russia has been caught in a huge trap without any confrontation in other important seaports. After the news about Finland hit the press, there was a very hot development in Russia. A fire broke out in an office in the Russian Defense Ministry building in Moscow. The fire in this building, which is at the heart of the Russian army, brought with it great panic. It is estimated that Russian bureaucrats who are against the occupation are behind this fire. Tensions between NATO and Russia go back many years. Putin, a former Soviet intelligence officer who now dreams of becoming the Russian emperor, has a deep knowledge of these times. He therefore sees NATO as a major obstacle to Russia and Putin's dreams. Putin, who does not want to let the so-called NATO threat near Russia's borders, is facing a big dilemma. Finland is very uncomfortable with Putin and Russia's expansionist policies. Finland, which has followed a neutral policy since the Second World War, has applied to join the NATO alliance against the growing Russian threat. Finland's members was recently accepted by the organization. U.S. Secretary of State Blinken made the following statement: "We are tempted to say this is maybe the one thing that we can thank Mr. Putin for, because he once again here precipitated something he claims to want to prevent by Russia's aggression, causing many countries to believe that they have to do more to look out for their own defense and to make sure that they can deter possible Russian aggression going forward." Russia's statements following Finland's ascension to NATO reveal how much this development has frightened Russia. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said in a statement that this development has forced Moscow to take countermeasures to ensure its security. He stated that Russia will take major measures in response to NATO's expansion from Monday and will further increase its military presence. Thanks to the outstanding efforts of the Ukrainian army on the front line, the Russian advance has been halted at many points. In Bakhmut, which Russia has been fighting to occupy for a long time, the Ukrainian defense is not letting up. Russian propaganda is content with spreading various news that the city has fallen. But there are no encouraging developments for Russia in the region. Russian casualties are increasing at an extraordinary rate every day. According to the latest data, Russia's losses are as follows: 176,240 military personnel, 3,629 tanks, 7,005 armored combat vehicles, 2,707 artillery systems, 532 reactive spread fire systems, 280 air defense systems, 306 aircraft, 291 helicopters, 5,573 automotive and tank equipment, 18 military ships and boats, 911 cruise missiles, 2,283 unmanned aerial vehicles, 299 special machines, 5 operational tactile missile systems. With the recent developments, we see that Russia's desperation has reached a great dimension. So what does Putin plan to do in what will be a very painful period for Russia? Will NATO's overwhelmingly superiority on the Russian borders dissuade Russia from invading? What would be the consequences of a possible NATO-Russia conflict? We value your views. Please share them with us.